Yummy!
Welcome to Cravings with Adventures. I'm Cardamom, and today we're making an Easter special, hot cross buns. Hot cross buns has some significance. In the old days, people would not eat anything sweet or made with any kind of dough for 40 days during Lent. And at the end of Lent, they would celebrate Easter with these delicious hot cross buns. They're semi-sweet and they're studded with dried fruit. And a traditional hot cross bun does have a cross right on the top of the bun that's baked in. This recipe is super easy to make and super delicious. Now later on today, I have some kids coming over for an Easter egg hunt, and not just any kids. These kids are the kids from the YouTube channel QaziInc. They have an incredible channel. I'm going to leave the link to their channel at the end of this video as well as in the description. Now I've already started to prepare the dough, and while the kids are busy doing their Easter egg hunt, I'm going to put them in the oven so they're perfect for them when they come out of their Easter egg hunt. Before I go any further with the recipe though, please do make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and do ring the bell. That's YouTube's new bell icon that will notify you every time I upload a new video. Now let's get started. Let's start with the fruit. I'm using a half cup, and this combination is totally up to you, but I'm using citrus peel, dried cranberries, and raisins. Now, you don't have to do this, but I do like to soak my fruit. I feel like it just adds a little bit of extra moisture. I'm just adding some pomegranate juice, but you could use anything that you have, apple, orange, or you could even use rum if you like. I'm going to allow this to soak while I work on my hot cross buns. I'm going to use my food processor for most of this. I'm going to start with 3/4 of a cup of warm milk. And to this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of flour. I'm going to add 2.5 teaspoons of active yeast. Now leave this alone for about 10 to 15 minutes until it starts to froth. This yeast is going to feed off the sugar and the flour. Once this is nice and frothy, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and I have 8 tablespoons here. This is roughly about half a cup or 1 stick of melted butter. Next, I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I love some clove powder, so I'm also going to add 1/4 teaspoon of clove powder. I'm also going to add freshly grated nutmeg. I'm going to grate this in, about 1/4 teaspoon should do. Now when you do this, make sure to watch your fingers and be careful not to drop the nutmeg into the batter. I've done both. I'm also going to add a whole egg in, and I'm going to give this a mix. I'm just going to clean up now and get my flour ready. I'm going to sift 3 cups of flour, 1 cup at a time. Now sifting the flour keeps it light, and it's really important to do this. I'm probably not going to use all of this flour, but I'm going to use as much as I need till my consistency is right. I'm also going to sift 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I've got my bowl on my stand mixer ready, and I'm going to also add 1 tablespoon each of orange and lemon peel. Now I'm going to start to mix all of my liquid ingredients together. Slowly, I'm going to add my sifted flour 1 tablespoon at a time. Periodically, make sure to scrape down the sides of your bowl. 1/2 cups of this flour in total, and I'm just going to knead this till it's nice and sticky. Oil a bowl and keep it aside. I'm going to tip this flour onto my board now, as I want to continue to knead this by hand. And I'm going to add a bit more flour to make it supple but not sticky. I'm now going to add this to my oil bowl. I'm going to cover this with cling film and I'm going to stick it in a warm spot. Now for me, my warm spot is my preheated oven, since I live in Canada and it's super cold. It's winter right now. Make sure that your oven has been shut off, and I'm going to add my bowl to the oven. Now notice that I've added a towel at the bottom. This is really important because if your racks are hot, it's going to scorch the dough from the underside. I'm going to leave this dough in my warm oven for 1 to 2 hours until the dough rises. While I'm waiting, I'm just going to combine flour and water together so I can pipe the crosses on top of my hot cross buns later. Now I'm making a lot more paste than I need, just in case, but be sure to whisk this well, as you need to remove all of the lumps from this flour paste. An hour has passed and this dough is looking amazing. It's practically doubled in size. Now I'm just going to free this from the cling wrap. Now if you poke it, you're going to see how much air pockets there are in the dough. I'm going to remove this from the bowl and I'm going to give it a quick knead. I've strained all of the fruit and I'm going to be adding most of the fruit. I'm just going to reserve about a tablespoon for later. Press the fruit in, roll the dough and knead it. I'm going to divide the dough into half, and then I'm going to roll the 2 halves into balls and I'm going to divide this into quarters. You should have 8 pieces of dough. And I'm just going to weigh these all just to make sure they're about the same weight. I have my oven tray ready and I'm going to roll each of these balls of dough. To get a smooth bun, just roll out the dough and flatten it and then pull it inwards and roll. I like to use the palm of my hands and my fingers, and I use a rolling motion and I keep my dough rolling on the counter. I like to make sure I have fruit on the good side of the bun, but if there isn't any, I can just add some from the 1 tablespoon that I reserved. It's cheating, I know, but it looks really good. I'm going to line these up now, touching each other, and I'm going to explain why later. I'm going to keep rolling all of these balls, and I'm being very strategic to make sure that you see some of the fruit on the top surface. If the dough is sticky, add a little bit more flour and just keep rolling. Once I have these on my tray, I'm going to cover them with cling film and I'm going to add this back to my warm oven to proof again for another 15 minutes. Now remember, the oven is warm, but it is not on. After 15 minutes, my dough balls have almost doubled again, and it's time to take them out and actually start to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now make sure to take the towel out if you don't want a fire. Don't do this, but I do like to brush these with a little bit of an egg wash so it gets a beautiful color. I have a prepared icing bag here with a tip, and I'm just going to fill it with the flour paste that I prepared earlier. Now this is why I buttered these buns up together. That's 2 buns in 1 line. Although I think I should have made this paste a little bit thicker, I'm going to go for it. I've got a paintbrush close by just in case I have to make any adjustments. Now here we go. Lines across. And then the other way. Now this is the reason why I buttered this up together, because it's a lot easier to hot cross your buns. Before this gets a chance to drip, I'm going to stick this in my preheated oven. Now this is going to need 15 to 20 minutes to cook, but I'm going to leave them in a little bit longer to brown up a little bit more on the top. Flip the pan around halfway through to make sure you get an even color. Once baked, brush this with a nice sticky jam. I'm just using some apricot jam that I warmed up in my microwave, but you could use anything you like, apple, marmalade, whatever your choice is. Now let's look at the texture. Look at that. Soft, flaky, perfect. Now, how do you like to eat your hot cross buns? Some people like this buttered or paired up with more jam. Let me know in the comments below. This basket of goodness is ready for the perfect Easter brunch. If you have leftovers, just zap them in the microwave for about 10 seconds and it's fresh as new. Everyone is going to love these. Thank you so much for joining me on Cravings Food Adventures. I hope you enjoyed this delicious recipe for hot cross buns. These kids loved it, and now they're ready to tuck into their Easter eggs. These aren't any ordinary kids, guys. These are the kids from QaziInc. They have an incredible channel on YouTube. Make sure to check them out. I'm going to leave the link to their channel in the description. Also, make sure to ring the bell. That's YouTube's new bell icon that will notify you every time I upload a new video. Share my channel and my videos with your family and friends. And follow me on all of my social channels. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, and even Snapchat. Until I see you next time, Happy Easter!